So this is a Kelly 50, and we did one of these recently on the channel. This one was bought by the customer and it was painted orange, and the customer has actually recovered this and he has actually made a really good job of it. The customer hadn't switched this amp on since he got it. He just took the chassis out, recovered the cabinet, he plugged it, he put it back in the cabinet, plugged it in, and he actually used a current limiter to power this up because he's switching it on for the first time. And while it was on the current limiter, it was on a couple of 60-watt bulbs. The fuse blew. The bulbs were bright and the fuse blew. It ran for about 2 minutes. And so he's brought it up for me to have a look at. This amp's been serviced apparently before he bought it. So we're going to have a look inside. So if you've not seen one of these before, it's very similar to a Selmer treble and bass, and we've just got a couple of channels. We've got a bass channel, volume, treble and bass, and it's not quite tight in the cabinet, so you can't quite see the writing on for the dials there. And then we've got normal channel, volume, treble and bass, and that's it. It's just a very simple amp. The last one we did on the channel, we actually modded that one. That one was in, if you remember, was in quite a bad way. You can find those videos. I'll put a link to the video. We did 3 parts of that. Part 1 was the calamity with the toroidal transformer that had been fitted. That one was also a blown transformer. Someone had fitted a toroidal on it and we couldn't get it out of the cabinet. And then we did a part 2, building up all the power supply part and the output tube section and everything. And then part 3 we did the preamp section, and we also did some mods to it. So enough waffling, let's get this out the case and have a look at what we're dealing with. Right, so let's have a look at what we've got then. So the big filter caps have been changed, but that one's coming out of the and it's fully tight on there on the bracket. Let's just turn it round and have a look. But you can see it's fully closed on the bracket there, and that's loose, and that's actually pulling out, look. So that needs addressing. The other one seems okay, so that needs addressing. What else? Let's just bring it round again. Oh, that definitely needs addressing. Definitely. Let's have a look at these tubes. By gum, that looks like it's had a bit of heat. Look at that there. My word. Baked, that's grilled. So we'll look at this one. That's had a fair bit of heat as well. No carbon build up on the sockets as I can see. What preamp tubes we got in? Pinnacle, and I'm not sure what that one is. Original power output transformer. So the last one we worked on, the power transformer was obviously not original power transformer, and the output transformer wasn't either. But that one obviously we can see is original. Right, I'm just going to take the output tubes out as well before I tip this upside down. I'm going to take these out anyway before I power it up. So I'm just going to run this on a current limiter just to see what happens. So let's just have a look inside here. Well, if this has been serviced, I don't know by who, I'm sorry, but this power cable is just a little bit too big for this amp. We need to address this as well. Oh dear. So that's come off there, but not to worry, that's easy enough to solder back on, no big deal. So we've got this resistor here going across the first two nodes, 270R, which is flattened into the capacitor. I'll get that up there. Well, that's not the way to put that on, is it really? But never mind. The grounds have just been tacked on there instead of threaded through the holes. That's what the holes are for. But never mind. Again, not a difficult thing to sort out. So this transformer, this power transformer, must have a centre tap, because we've only got a couple of diodes there. The ground is fastened on to this ground here, which should be on a separate lug drilled into the chassis, so that will have to be changed as well. We need to just check the HT fuse to see if it's on the negative line. A lot of these were. These caps have not been changed on here, and these are the original RS ones, so we could probably change those as well, because they're really old and they may not be showing signs. Let's have a look. That one doesn't look very good. I don't understand why you would service an amp, change those, but leave those for what they cost and the time it would take to change them. Yes. So there's a bias there. That's been changed. That's good. So what's going on here? I have to put some bigger glasses on. I can't really see what's going on there. So what are those? Because they're like, that one's like embedded between those two jack sockets. Is that a ground? It is a ground. Oh, I know what they are. Sorry, they're resistors on the cathodes. I just realised I couldn't see where they were going. Yeah, it's just to measure the bias on there. These look a bit tired as well, don't they? They're only 470 ohms. Need to be upgraded to 1K really. A bit tired, a bit rusty as well. I think I would have changed those, but no big job to change those. So let's look down the preamp section then. So we'll need to check some of these capacitors here, and that's a very old capacitor there. These here, these might be alright, but that one I would guess will probably be suspect, but probably it is a bypass capacitor. Yep, 2.2K. Oh, these have been swapped though. On here, these 47s have been swapped, so that's okay. Flux around there, we'll clean that off, but yeah, that's good. That back a bit. So we'll just have to tack this. I'm just going to tack this on there, and then I'm just, while the output tubes are out, I'm just going to see what happens when it's on the current limiter. I'm just going to check these resistors and stuff that's on here, because I can see that one's just been laid across and it's hardly got any solder on it. Let's just have a look before I fire it up. I don't want one of those coming off. Yeah, so they just want rewiring really. Yeah, they're okay. Yeah, so I'm just going to solder that back on there on the neutral. And then we'll plug it in to the current limiter. Let's see if we've got any fuses in there, shall we? This is the HT fuse, I think. Going on to that, and that is on the ground. Yeah, on the negative side, on the ground side. Yeah, that is 500 milliamp slow blow. I think I prefer quick blow on the HT. Let's have a look. What we got here? I think that might be 2 amp. A little bit, not too bad, a little over that is, but right. What we got floating around here? Pin 5, yeah, grid stopper. Yeah, that's okay. Right, I'm just going to tack this on. It really needs taking off and doing properly. This here needs to come out, and we need to put in a proper cable gland in there to hold that. The problem with doing this is that although you can't pull this out because of the knot, you can still push it in, and all the time this is moving, it's flexing these wires, and eventually they break off. These should be solid and never move. Let's get some solder on that. I only want this, I'm only going to do this just to test it, as long as it's on secure. And then we'll take it all off and redo it. Just feel the switch, little wear in that, There we go. It's only temporary. Don't like doing that, but it's only temporary. So, and we've got it on the current limiter, so it's no big deal. We'll have it on the current limiter in a minute. So we've got the tubes out, and I've got a 60-watt bulb in the current limiter. So we're going to plug in. We're off there. And we'll switch on and see what we get. Bulb's bright, very bright. That is a dead short on there. Just look how this power cable's been wired up. What's going on? Oh, I hear this ground bus is a bit from the factory. A bit Heath Robertson, that is. Just going to solder that ground off of there. Right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put ground on here. I just don't like that ground soldered to the transformer there, although it's soldered to the ground bus. Right. Again, this is only just temporary, just so it has a ground. So we'll just clip that on there. So we've got a ground again. Right, let's switch on now. Still bright. So let's just see what's coming out of this. That's going to the power fuse. That one's going into the transformer. Yeah, that's just come off. That's the LED on there. Neon light, sorry, it'll be a neon on this, not LED. Far too old to have a neon light on. LED, sorry. Let's just check those diodes. See if they're shorted. Right. So I disconnected this diode and put it back in circuit again. Disconnected this one, and there we go. It's working. It's that diode that's blown there. I thought that looked a bit odd when I was measuring it. Very noisy, that transformer. What we got going through it now? 226 volts, and it's only drawing 70 milliamps. So we're going to test these two wires here because we're going to test those for AC. Right, I've dropped the bulb down to 15 watts now, and that's just dimly lit, which is what I would expect. Oh, there we go. 459. So that looks good. So it looks to me like those diodes have gone. So we need to get a couple of diodes to go in there. Well, if this amp's been serviced, I don't know by who. I'm sorry. It's this. I look at this amp and I would say this has just been. It's been wired up just to get it going. I mean, the diode has just blown. That's just the customer's unlucky. He just switched it on and that diode said good night. It's one of the reasons why I always change them. The thing is, they cost so little that they're just something you change on a service. You know, luckily this had the correct fuse in, and the customer fired this up on a current limiter. Could quite easily have took that transformer out. So, you know, it just makes sense to change them. They're pennies. I don't understand why anybody. To me, that's a standard service in these amps at this age. For me, that's a standard part change. But it is what it is. It is a bit noisy, that transformer, though, when it's got 240 volts on it. I'll get rid of those. So yeah, if you're servicing your amps, and you know, if it's as old as this is 50 years old, this amp, you know, swap the diodes for what they cost and the time it takes. Don't leave them in and risk blowing the transformer. Right, so we've got the meter hooked up, we've got the tubes in, speaker connected. Most important, we've got our new diodes there now, a couple of those 5408s. They're really heavy duty. So I've got 30 watts of bulbs in the current limiter, so we're going to plug in and we're going to switch on. So the bulbs are pretty bright, but they will be. There's only 30 watts. We're drawing 100 milliamps. We've got 66 volts going into it. Turn all the volumes up and turn treble controls and things. Current's coming down now, it's down to 90 milliamps. And the reason the current's coming down is because the voltage is increasing there. So we've got 200 volts on there now. So we're going to go very steady with this. So I'm going to take out the two 15s and I'm going to put in a 40 now. There we go. So now the voltage is coming up. We've got 142 volts on there, so we should be hearing something pretty soon. And we have sound. Indeed we do. We have sound. Now this amp, we've got this amp going. It still needs a full service, but that is running now. So the current limiter's got it down at 100 milliamps now. The tubes are conducting. So again, this diagnosing with the current limiter, Trick is to get the right wattage of bulbs in when you start. You know, if you bang a 200 watt bulb in there, 100 watt, 200 watt bulb, then you got all the current, you know, majority of the current then is going to go into the amp. You want the current going into the bulb. So the smaller the bulb, the less voltage you get through, and the bulb takes the current. That's the idea. But that's running pretty dang good. It is. It's very quiet as well. Right, we'll bring it up steady. Let's stick another 15 on it. You see it's going up. You perhaps can't hear it running because the speaker's across the room. But 311 now we have on there, don't we? So that's all looking good. So yeah, the customer's just unlucky really. You know, first time he plugged this in, that diode failed. That can happen to anyone. It's not, you know, they're just old, and that's why they should be changed when you service them. You know, that could have been the transformer gone, but luckily it hasn't, and we're up and running again. And that's pretty good. So that's running now. We've got that running. That's good. Yeah. Yes, quite pleased with that. Pleased for the customer as well that he hasn't got to, you know, we haven't got to start changing that transformer. Let's just put another 20 watts in there. It's going up a bit more now. So we're drawing 100, we're not drawing a lot of current now, 140 milliamps. I'd expect this to be drawing 450 to 500 milliamps when it's off the current limiter. So let's see, we'll have this 15 out and we'll put 40 in. That's now 100 watts of current limiting, and you can see the voltage is going up now. Now I've got 170 milliamps, and now it's coming to life. Shall we get the guitar through it and have a bit of a listen? Ah. Beautiful clean tone, these amps. Just seem to have a lot of top. That's the bass channel, all right there. Let's try the normal channel. Yeah, a bit more top on there. That seems okay. Stretch cords, they're so difficult these days with the arthritis. We've got some see if that's on that channel or I think that's my guitar. I think that's my toggle switch. Yeah, it lacks a little top, this bass channel. Maybe one of the capacitors is tied on that tone stack. Maybe. That's all, folks. So there we go. Some rather rubbishy, rusty guitar playing there. So that's where we are with this one then. So we've established it works. We've just swapped those diodes, and that's got it up and running again. But it does want a damn good service. So I think that'll do it really. We've got, I mean, as regards the tubes, biasing and things like that, we won't know until we've got the amp serviced and up and running. We've still got it running on the current limiter, and I didn't want to take it off because that does look a little like it's got a bit of a bulge starting there. So that'll do it for this one. So thanks for watching, and you all take care, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye for now.